do multiplication and division with powers of 10, as in scientific notation, you don't have to convert those values out of scientific notation into standard form. You can use power shortcuts. So when you're multiplying or dividing powers of the same base, whether that be powers of 10 or, say, square feet and cubic feet or anything where you have the same base to different powers, when you multiply them, the powers get added. So if you have, in this case, 10 cubed and 10 to the 7th, so 10 cubed is 10 times 10 times 10. 10 to the 7th is 10 times 10 times 7 times. And when we multiply those together, we just count up how many 10s altogether, but we don't have to count them up. We can just say there's 3 and there's 7 more and add those. We're also using the fact that multiplication is commutative, meaning we can rearrange. So we don't have to keep the same order. We can rearrange to 6.1 times 9 times 10 to the 3rd times 10 to the 7th. You don't have to write out that step. But 10 to the 3rd times 10 to the 7th, we're going to add the powers as we multiply powers of the same base. 6.1 times 9, you can put that in your calculator just like normal, but just the 6.1 times 9, which comes out 54.9. And that's going to be 54.9 times 10 to the 10th power. But if I want that result to be in scientific notation, this is not scientific notation. The 54.9 is too big. I move the decimal point and add 1 to the power because that power wasn't quite high enough. It's going to be 5.49 times 10 to the 11th. And I didn't have to go into standard form to do that. Now, if your calculator has scientific notation, you may be able to figure out how to get your calculator to do this for you. That's fine. For division, it's going to be the top power minus the bottom power. So we're taking away some of the 10s rather than adding more. And then you have to be careful with negative powers. So here we have 1.8 times 10 to the negative 4 divided by 6 times 10 to the negative 7. And I can split this to 1.8 divided by 6 times 10 to the negative 4 divided by 10 to the negative 7. Again, you don't need to write that out. You just need to know you do the number division as division. And then for the powers of 10, you subtract. You take the top power minus the bottom power. Again, the negative 7 isn't the minus. We're subtracting whatever the bottom power is. It happens to be negative 7. So we have minus negative 7. 1.8 divided by 6 is 0.3. And then negative 4 minus negative 7. The two negatives, it's like flipping a light switch on and then back off. So it's any pair of negatives next to each other cancel out, and it becomes negative 4 plus 7, which is positive 3. In this case, we want standard notation for the result, so just moving that decimal point 3 places, taking that 0.3 times 10 to the 3rd times 1,000, and filling in with zeros. Then we can get rid of that decimal point at the beginning, get rid of the 0, and the result is 300. Then number 5 here, you have to figure out the calculation to do with this word problem so that units can be involved there and then do the calculation. And while you can do it by converting to standard form and then back to scientific notation, that's not necessary. So if you can learn how to do it without, that will save you some time. So we have 2 times 10 to the 6th gallons of water in 1 day. So 2 times 10 to the 6th, I'll write that as gallons per day. And then we're looking at 8.6 days. I have a per day. I want to multiply that by days because that's what's going to make the day units go away. So 2 times 10 to the 6th times 8.6 and that will be the number of gallons. And so I'm going to take the 2 and the 8.6 and multiply those. And then I have my 10 to the 6. There's not another power of 10 to combine with it. It's just going to sit to the side. And I do 2 times 8.6 in the calculator, and that comes out 17.2 times 10 to the 6th. The number is too big. Move the decimal point and make the power of 10 that much bigger. Add 1. And so it is 1.72 times 10 to the 7th. And for the calculation and for the scientific notation, I didn't have to write out zeros. I didn't have to count zeros into my calculator anywhere in that process.